So, good evening, friends, or rather, good evening, good afternoon, or morning, depending on where you are joining us from. Whether you are sipping your morning coffee, wrapping up your day, or you're somewhere in between, we are thrilled to have you with us for today's LinkedIn audios event on the climate change, its drivers, and mitigation. I'm your host, Kailash Chaudhary, and I'm excited to guide you through this insightful discussion. Before going forward, let me give a warm welcome to our esteemed panelists. Our first panelist is Miss Bharti Marathe. She is an architect and academician, having 9 years of architectural educator and environmental consultant experience. She conceptualized sustainability project and aligned it with the UNESCO Green Citizens Project. She worked with Earth Fire Environmental Organization as vice president, heading the research and innovation team there. She has also worked with Pune, Mumbai, and Bangalore municipalities for design, composting, and organic gardening workshops for citizens. Academically, Ms. Bhati is with the Masters in Environmental Architecture. She is the leading faculty on architectural building construction and design at Dr. Baliram Hare College of Architecture, Mumbai. Welcome, Ms. Bhati.
A, a very warm good evening to everyone.
Ms. Bhati. My second panelist is Mr. Manoj Kumar Yadav. Mr. Manoj is an ESG and climate change consultant with 14 years of demonstrated global expertise. Formerly, he worked as a senior advisor climate change at German Bilateral Cooperation Agency, GIZ. Mr. Manoj is also a doctoral researcher in business sustainability at IIM Lucknow and holds a Masters of Public Policy degree from LSE as a Commonwealth Scholar. Welcome, Manoj.
Thank you, Kailash.
Thank you, Manoj. And my third panelist is Mr. Alok Panigrahi. Mr. Alok is a seasoned sustainability professional with almost 13 years of experience in consulting and corporate roles. He has worked across various sectors and drives multiple engagements on decarbonization, strategy reporting, due diligence, and assurance. He is GRAP SCR certified as well and is certified energy manager by the Bureau of Energy Efficiency.
Yeah.
Welcome, Alok. And
Thanks,
my
Kailash.
last
Thanks,
panelist
everyone.
is, thank you, thank you, Alok. Thank you very much. My last panelist is Dr. Raul Pascalo. Dr. Raul is the Erasmus Plus Institutional Coordinator from ULST. Erasmus Plus, if I give a detail, is a program of the European Union that supports education, training, youth, and sports in the Europe. Am I right, Raul?
Yes, yes. Hello, everyone. Yes, you're right. Through Erasmus, a lot of cooperations can be undertaken. Thank you.
And also, Mr. Raul is a lecturer at the Faculty of Agriculture with a PhD in agriculture and another one in translations. He has translated and co-authored several papers on climate change and global warming. He is a member in one of the projects in Europe, which is called Horizon, Sustainable Horizons rather, in European universities, which is for the designing the horizons of sustainability. And he's the manager of several Erasmus projects, members in KA2 projects. His main concern is to connect the higher educational institutions, what we call it HEIs, across the globe and develop mutual international projects in the area of education, climate change, and environmental protection. Mr. Raul is from Romania. Welcome, Raul.
Thank you very much for this introduction, and good evening, everyone. I'm looking forward to interacting with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. So let's start with my questions basically. The human activity we see significantly impacts the climate change through greenhouse gas emissions, actions such as burning fossil fuel for energy, or deforestation, and industrial processes. These contribute most. Understanding these drivers is crucial for the effective mitigation. Now let's delve deeper into the role of human activities in shaping our climate future. So, this question will be to Manoj. Manoj, how significant is the role of human activities in driving the climate change, and what specific action contributes most to the greenhouse gas emissions? What is your take on this, Manoj?
Thank you, Kailashi, and a warm welcome to all the listeners. I think this question is the foundation for the discussion that will unfold. Human activities have proved to be beyond any doubt on a scientific level that these are responsible for the increased greenhouse gases and its concentration in the environment. I mean, the science is clear through the IPCC, which is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and there is substantial evidence that emissions are caused due to anthropogenic or human activities. And there are certain drivers within greenhouse gas contributors, and primarily this is driven by the burning of fossil fuels we have, which largely contributes to 3/4 or around 75% of all the greenhouse gases. Then we have deforestation because of the rapid and population growth across the world and urbanization as well. There has been deforestation, also led by industrial appetite for land and forest products. So that's also another major contributor. Beside that, agriculture is also a major contributor of greenhouse gases. Around 1/4 of greenhouse gases do come from agriculture and allied activities. That includes livestock, which is also a significant contributor. And then we have industrial processes and also waste management that also contributes to greenhouse gases. So there is a host of factors here which are at play. And I think this question is important because once we identify the drivers, it is only then we can segregate and diversify the action plan, that go into addressing these sectoral challenges, so to speak. So yeah, I mean, it is beyond doubt that human activities are causing increased greenhouse gas emissions and concentration in the environment, and which has complicated, the balance of nature. And we are seeing the effects in terms of increased intensity, frequency, and severity of extreme weather events, for example. So yeah, I mean, this is beyond any doubt that human activities have caused enormous emissions. Thank you.
Well, very well explained, Manoj. Bharti, you want to say anything on this question? Any addition from your end?
Yeah, as mentioned by Mr. Manoj, that we have inevitably harmed the environment, and there is a very evident climate change which is happening and experienced by all. Here, I would like to tell that regarding the climate, combating the climate change, we have to take action at all the levels. Firstly, we have to start at the individual level, then a unit, then a house unit. Slowly, we go to the businesses and the state governments, and then finally, the government initiatives to combat the climate change. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Bharti. Rahul, will you take this question and you can enlighten us on the Romanian side and the European Union side how these individual drivers are taking the shape in terms of global warming?
Yes, in Romania we have adopted several concrete actions joining the EU emissions trading, and certainly international cooperation is crucial in addressing this climate change. And if I might say, there have been successful examples of countries coming together to tackle this global challenge. One would be the Paris Agreement, adopted in 2015, when nearly 200 countries committed to limiting the global temperature. Regarding the individual, the human activity, how it significantly impacts climate changes, I can say that what has been mentioned by the speakers, like the burning fossil fuels, deforestation, land use changes, industrial processes, agricultural practices, and waste management, I think that addresses these sources of GHG emissions through mitigation strategy is essential for combating climate change and reducing its impact on the environment and society. We have in Romania several educational programs within higher education institutions, namely the universities, and we have developed a lot of programs. For example, our university, University of Life Sciences, King Michael I from Timișoara, western part of Romania, has several programs of study, bachelor and master, within the environmental protection engineering. And this includes transitioning to renewable energy sources, education, implementing energy efficiency measures, protecting and restoring forests, promoting sustainable land use practices, improving industrial processes, and most of all, adopting climate smart agricultural techniques, and of course, enhancing waste management and recycling efforts. Because we believe that by taking concerted actions to reduce emissions from these key sources, humanity can work towards mitigating climate change and building a more sustainable future. And this is very important for the next generations, for the future generations. And this is a measure adopted in the universities, to have more and more programs related to environmental protection and sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you. Alok, your take on this question?
Sure. So the very basic concept around this climate change revolves around the climate science. When we try to look into how this Earth operate and how the climate is been managed, the primary part is the energy balance. So whatever energy that is reaching to the Earth from the sun, that must be radiated back to the atmosphere back, so that the temperature can be maintained. So since we are talking about the human interventions, we need to understand that what exactly is happening, that the temperature of the globe or the earth is increasing. So there is a gas called greenhouse gases which traps the heat. So whether it is required or not required, that is very important to understand. So definitely from a existence point of view, the role of greenhouse gases is important. But if we look into the historical precedents, how it has increased, so we can see that the amount of greenhouse gases has significantly increased since last couple of years, I would say couple of centuries. So there is a concept called ice age and interglacial period. So within every 10,000 years we can see a kind of a 6 degree increase in temperature. But right now, if you try to look into these numbers, so in a century, hardly 0.06 degrees Celsius increase happens. But right now, if you look into the temperature increase that is happening right now, so it is almost 1 degree Celsius per century. So that is something we can say that almost 16 times higher. So when I say 16 times higher, why it is happening? Because the concentration of greenhouse gases has increased. So rightly mentioned by Manoj, then Bharati and Paul, there are a lot of interventions areas that is happening in and around, which is just giving its share to the increase in greenhouse gases. If you try to look into the carbon dioxide numbers, before the industrial revolution, it was standing at something 300 parts per million. But right now, if you try to look into the number, it stands at around 400 parts per billion. So the increasing number is again reflecting back into how the atmosphere will behave. And that is the main cause behind the temperature increase. And definitely, yes, the human interventions is very much important cause, or we would say enabler in this climate change activity and increase in greenhouse gases. And definitely the actions need to be taken, how we can reduce our consumption pattern and how we can reduce our interventions so that we can not only reduce the greenhouse gases that we are emitting, but even how we can take that back from the atmosphere so that we can create a better world with almost 1.5 degree temperature increase by the end of century 2100. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Alok. Thank you very much. And very well explained the process of global warming. So my second question will be to Bharti. Bhati, the climate change presents a looming threat to the future generations, and this is very near to my heart. This question basically, because we people who born on 60s, 70s, and 80s, they are the most contributor to the global warming, to the carbon concentration in the environment and everything. So we have created a situation for our next generations. So, what are the top two concerns you understand that the future generations we have to face due to this climate change, and what measures can be taken about it now, right now, urgently? What actions we can take? Uh, combined.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. As very rightly mentioned by you, Kailash, that we are the destroyers of the ecosystem and the earth sciences, as mentioned by Alok and very well explained by him. It's a very good question. And, I already feel for the future generation as they would be dealing with many concerns, actually, not only two. But if you ask me, the first and the major would be the land degradation and the complete biodiversity loss. Now, what is happening is because of the changing land use patterns for human habitants for food and shelter, there is a complete loss of biodiversity, and this is actually directly adding up to the global warming and the climate change. So we know we have land available for construction, so that needs to be well managed, and we should enhance the urban ecosystem. By meaning enhancing urban ecosystem, we should promote urban greenery as and when and as and where possible. We should try and increase the softscape throughout all our sites and throughout the cities. We should also explore the untapped potential of existing urban rooftops and try to change it in the green roofs. We have measures in DCR which talks about the harvesting of solar energy and rainwater harvesting measures on the rooftops, but there is no mandate as such for the green roofs. But if the green roof mandate comes, it is going to help us a lot in urban biodiversity and to combat the heat islands which we are creating. And we have good examples of the countries like Canada, France, Switzerland, who are already practicing that, and their governments are taking initiatives about it. Talking about the land available for agriculture, we have and we must strive for improving the health of the soil, which has already been degraded by excessive tillage and monoculture. Again, here too, we have a good example of a country called Cuba, which has come up with a great agricultural model when they were facing food insecurity back in 1990s. So countries are doing that. The second important concern, which I feel needs immediate attention, is waste management. We are absolutely clueless how to manage our ever increasing waste, and we are in constant search of a new piece of land for dumping our waste. Other day, one of my colleague who stays in Borivali shared a video where there's a constant inflow of trucks full with the waste, and it has been dumped in the Borivali East area completely unnoticed and uncontrolled by anyone. So that should not be the case. And what is happening is the waste, the wet waste and the dry waste, which is being clubbed together and put it on the landfills. So after a while, because of the decomposition of the wet waste, there is an oozing out of methane, and we all know that methane is a major contributor to the global warming, because its potential warming potential is much more than the carbon dioxide. So if we take some measures, and if government also takes some measures to make compulsory the segregation of waste at source, and if there is a government policy in place, And then there is also the governance of this policy which has been implemented by the citizens and the society levels or not. If it is in place, it is going to help us a lot, where we can actually convert the waste in energy. And for this also, we have great examples in our India itself. If we see the case study of Surat, which is now one of the most greenest city, and also about Pune, which is effectively managing door-to-door collection and segregation since years, it is going to help us a lot. Yeah. So these are the two concerns I feel.
Thank you, Bharti. Thank you
Kailashi,
very
if I
much.
may add just one
Yeah,
quick point.
yeah,
So, Bharti, I
please,
mean,
please.
points well taken. And I want to draw the attention of audience towards a report that UNDP came up with in 2021, and they surveyed people across 50 countries, and the result of that survey is near unanimous agreement that climate change is an emergency. It's a global problem, and it requires urgent solutions. So 64% of the respondents do believe climate change is a global emergency, is what the outcome is. And then the survey is also showing that there's a strong support for a range of climate change related policies, and especially related to forest conservation and land conservation. It includes also green jobs which are driven by renewable energy. So younger people, if I summarize, are a lot more concerned about their future, and it reflects in terms of global scale as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoj. Thank you. Rahul, you want to add anything?
Yes, in addition to what have been very well pointed out and highlighted, I would like to add two of the concerns I've found out, and that would be for the future generations extreme weather events, because climate changes is expected to intensify and increase the frequency of extreme weather, such as hurricane, heat waves, drought, floods, and wildfires, which can be, of course, devastating impacts on communities, infrastructure, agriculture, and ecosystems. And the other one would be rising sea levels and coastal flooding, because as temperature rises, polar ice caps and glaciers are melting, causing sea levels to rise, and this phenomenon poses a significant threat to coastal communities, especially in low-lying areas and small island nations, where inundation, erosion, and saltwater intrusion can lead to loss of land, displacement of populations, and damaged infrastructures of ecosystems. To tie it up, the internationalization with it, both internationalization and Erasmus play a crucial role for the future generations. Why? Because there are several ways that can impact on them. Knowledge exchange and collaboration. Internationalization fosters collaboration and knowledge exchange among institutions, researchers, and students from different countries. This collaboration enhances our understanding of climate change's challenges, but also solutions, leading to more effective policies and actions. Then that will be also capacity building, because internationalization efforts, including student and staff mobility programs, contribute to capacity building in higher education institutions worldwide. Global citizenship and awareness. Through international mobility program like Erasmus, students gain exposure to different cultures, lifestyles, and environmental practices, fostering a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of global environmental challenges. And that will be the two last ones, innovation and solutions, because international collaboration stimulates innovation and the development of sustainable solutions to mitigate and adapt to climate changes, and practices that promote renewable energy, green infrastructure, circular economy principles, and climate-smart agriculture. And the last one will be policy influence. Internationalization enables us to engage in global policy dialogues, and advocacy efforts aim at addressing climate change at the international, national, and local levels. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you very much. And very important point you raised about the international collaboration. which is a must here in this, because when we talk about climate change, it's a global climate change. It's not a climate change of one city or one state or one country. So moving forward with my next question, the renewable energy I'm just talking about in the next question, the renewable energy source are showcased significant promise in the mitigating the carbon emissions, which is visible. Our Indian government also launched one rooftop scheme for the renewable energy on the solar side. Yet challenges are persistent in scaling up this adoption. From fluctuating energy storage to infrastructure development, understanding the effectiveness and hurdles of renewable is very, very crucial. In terms of mitigation strategies, how effective have renewable energy sources proven to be in the reducing carbon emissions, and what challenges remain in scaling up this adoption? I'll throw this question to Alok.
Yeah.
Alok, can you put some light on this question?
Definitely. After the questions on the impact on climate change, definitely renewable energy is very important lever how we can minimize the impact of climate change and reduce the CO2 in the atmosphere. So when we look into the renewable energy part, as you rightly said that there are multiple government interventions are happening. If I just try to summarize the things, in COP26 we declared Panchamrit, right? So in Panchamrit there is a plan that we need to have 500 gigawatt of non-fossil energy by 2030. At the same time, by 2030, we want to have more than 50% of energy that should come from renewable energy. So when we look into these targets, definitely this looks quite ambitious. At the same time, at implementation level, we can see that there is a lot of solar units, wind units, hydro units are coming in different parts of the country. Not only in India, but globally, lot of things are happening in terms of how you can go for renewable energy for your premises. So if we try to look into three aspects, one is the demand and supply and regulation point of view. First, the demand. Demand point of view, we need to understand that whether there is significant demand or not. Definitely, demand has been created right now with the push of going net zero, specific to India government by 2070. Even multiple companies have come up with their target to go net zero. When they want to go net zero, then definitely it is required that how they can reduce their emission. So many companies are exploring that how they can go for hybrid and solar and wind energy, get energy from that. At the same time, very recently, the government of India released one specific scheme, that is Pradhan Mantri Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. So we need to understand that what is the intricacy of all these schemes. At one extent, it is all about creating the demand, getting the source from freely available sources like solar energy and wind energy and light. At the same time, save our electricity bill and other concept. But at the same time, why there is some challenges in terms of adaptation? Because if you look into the supplier side, many people are investing into solar plants in the far fringe of, you can say, Rajasthan, Gujarat, and other states. But across India, we can see that there is still differences around how the policy can be augmented so that different state governments can go for it. Second is the land availability. Right now, for one specific solar plant, for 1 gigawatt solar plant, the land requirement would be very high. At the same time, for the windmills, the land requirement, the way it impacts the environment, it is very high. So we need to understand that how we can optimize the land use pattern of for all these solar and other wind installations so that we can optimize the generation from these plants and get the maximum out of it. Second part is how we can advance in the technologies so that the capacity utilization factor, this is a concept where we understand that how much of the solar panel we can get some electricity. So we need to increase that from 21 right now, which falls around 70 to 21% considering Indian geography and others, how we can increase that to 30 to 40% at least, so that we can maximize that. So that is one part. And finally, I would like to say that the waste management is going to be a looming threat for all this renewable energy. Whatever waste being generated because of the solar panels, the windmills, right now there is, if you go to any specific sites where there is any captive solar units are there, you will find piles of solar panels scattered here and there. Definitely, there are a lot of rules and regulations that has come up recently, but we need to see that how we can optimize the energy generation, how we can optimize the land use, and how we can work on the waste part. So if you can look into all these things, definitely the technology advancement and integration at the same time by the government as well as different private and different forums, different initiatives are happening like RE100 initiative is there. In Government of India, there is International Solar Alliance has come up. So how we can augment all these things in our RE capability, that is something need to be looked at. So definitely lot of progress is happening and lot of problems are there, but we need to think in a very positive mindset that how we get the best out of all the countries, what are the best practices, and take it forward.
So Alok, to add to your points, I'm just curious about to know. One side is the solar and wind energy, other side is a nuclear power. So in a long term, which one is better as per your
So, yeah, definitely from my perspective, I would like to have a balanced approach. Why right now we are not getting into too much of nuclear energy because of the threat, because of the accidental impact that can it lead to. But after the advancement of technologies, we can see that there is lot of changes is happening. So if we can further the nuclear energy as well, with a very small land parcel and very small area, we would be able to have much more energy out of the plant. So, from an energy affordability point of view, if you look into the sustainable development goals, that is clean and affordable energy. Definitely, nuclear energy is one of the best solution, I would say. But at the same time, look into that, that is also at a planetary boundary stage, uh, which is
correct.
reducing at a very higher rate. So we need to have a balanced approach so that we can go for more energy balance and go for more energy intensity approach and maximize the impact of this renewable energy for the people.
That's what my point was actually. Okay, right. So Manoj, any addition from your end?
I mean, I think Alok has actually covered all the points. So I can connect with agriculture in the sense that India has announced under its leadership, similar to the International Solar Alliance, and another alliance called Global Biofuel Alliance, and that is in the making, in the sense that it is yet to be operationalized. And I think that's where lies the land use and agriculture intersection with mitigation and adaptation. Essentially, India still remains one of the agrarian economies, and we have a significant amount of our population depending on agriculture as a primary source of livelihood. And therefore, anything that helps in reducing the emission from agriculture while strengthening communities from adaptation point of view is going to have a doubly positive impact. Agriculture, as we know, and allied sectors contribute around 25% of greenhouse gases, and so there's a significant potential to reduce the emissions right there. And then we also have the angle of livelihood, in the sense that if agriculture production goes down because of increasing greenhouse gas emissions in the future, and it will go down. I mean, according to estimates from FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN, the rain-fed rice yield could go down by 25% by the middle of the century, and up to half before the end of the century. The same is true for wheat as well. These crops are extremely sensitive to changes in temperature, and as a civilization, we depend on a dozen crops. That includes wheat, and paddy, as staple food crops. The point being, it not only has significant impact on the significant number of population in our country and globally as well, but also in terms of the response required to address some of these challenges. And these challenges I can talk about in my in the next question, where we go deeper into how we can use certain adaptation measures to deal with these challenges. But yes, from an emission point of view, agriculture has a huge reduction potential, and yeah, and that's where initiatives like International Solar Alliance and Global Biofuel Alliance do come into picture. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoj. In the interest of time, can I skip Bharti and Rahul for this question and go ahead? Rahul, or you want to add anything?
No, it's okay.
It's okay.
All the key aspects has been very well pointed out. So yes,
Yeah,
it's okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, thank
I
you.
agree.
So going forward, it's a very, very important point, and this is also very near to my heart. Climate justice. And climate justice ensures the fairness in addressing both the causes and impacts of the climate change, especially for the marginalized communities, because they are the disappropriately affected. The wealthy or rich people are responsible for significant emission, which contribute substantially. And the wealthiest 10% emits around 50% of the global CO2 emissions. How can we ensure the equity in the climate action? What's your thought on this, Alok? Can you add on this climate justice side?
Sure. So definitely, Kalasi, the climate justice is something is very close to me as well, because we do understand that whatever things has happened so far, because when we're trying to have a baseline of this industrial revolution, we know that lot of improvement and in terms of life cycle improvement has happened in the West. I would say the developed nations, but all the developing nations which are at a cusp of right now moving to a better lifestyle, when India is planning to move to a 5 trillion economy, because the significant populations are staying here as well. No doubt we might be emitting more greenhouse gases right now, but we will try to divide that with our population, the per capita emission. We will definitely find at a very lower end. So, what is something we can do, and whether it is required that we need to have a differentiated approach between developed and developing nations in doing this? Definitely, lot of talk has happened before in terms of your clean development mechanism, your joint initiatives. By part of that, where the rich countries had plans to install different mechanism in developing nations, so that the technology transfer can happen and further augmentation can happen, so that they can meet the climate related problems. But rightly you said that all the people who are at the marginalized, all the marginalized people who are at very poor, the impact is very high for them. So we need to have a differentiated approach not only at the global level but at the national level by means of different taxation. Suppose just like right now we are paying in our income tax, we can have a different tax strategy so that the amount that would be generated from that can be used for the adaptation and mitigation measure, and that is at the low flung areas and for the lower hanging people. But most importantly, I do believe in one concept, that is there is a shloka in Sanskrit which says that ayam nijaha parabeti ganana laguchetasam udaram charitam nantu vasudeva kutumbakam. What it exactly means? So yeah, this is mine, this is his problem, that is his problem, it has come from him, it has come from her. That is something should not be the point of doubt, but we should ensure that how collectively we can do something so that we can meet this phenomena together. So when we will try to divide rich and poor, the result may not be too good. That we have seen since the Kyoto Protocol to COP20, to COP15 to COP28 right now, we have seen the progress. These things are not gaining momentum, but what we can do, just like recently Indian government has released life cycle for lifestyle improvement for environment, the life initiatives. It has a stringent seven, it is a very nicely put up seven initiatives that we need to do so that it can be implemented by everyone. So climate change mitigation should not be a segregation kind of approach, but it should be a mass movement, so that the person who is staying in Rameswaram, or the person who is staying in Kashmir, or may the person who is staying in US or Canada, everyone should understand that a little bit impact of their action is going to change or going to impact how we are going to live in the coming days, whether we can able to create a better and sustainable future for not only for us but for the people who are going to come in the future, and they should not scold us that our forefathers has done such thing, we are unable to live, the earth has not become livable. So we need to understand and we need to come with a better action plan. Everybody need to give their part, whatever action they can do, and they can contribute in a better way, and we can take this movement together very positively and in a uniform unison basis.
Yeah, yes, you were very well said, Alok. I do agree. I do agree on this. We should not divide and then, because the very purpose is defeated. So,
Yeah.
Rahul, your take on this question on the climate justice side.
Yes, I think that there are some key aspects. How can we contribute to this? And one would be community participation and decision making, because empowering communities to participate in the decision making processes related to climate action ensures that their voices are heard and their needs are taken into account. This could involve establishing community advisory boards, maybe conducting participatory planning processes, and also providing support for grassroots initiatives. Another one would be investing in renewable energy and sustainable development, because transitioning to renewable energy sources and promoting sustainable development practices not only helps mitigate climate change, but also creates economic opportunities for marginalized communities, and investments in renewable energy infrastructure and energy efficiency programs, green job training, can help ensure that the benefits of climate changes are equitably distributed. And of course, we have to take into account education and awareness, because increasing public awareness about the intersection of climate change and social justice, it's essential for building support for equitable climate action. Education campaigns, community workshops, media outreach can help raise awareness about the disproportionate impact of climate change on marginalized communities and their need for inclusive solutions. And the last one would be, of course, international cooperation, because it's a global challenge that requires coordinated action at international level. Developed countries should fulfill their commitments to provide financial and technological support to developing countries to help them mitigate and adapt to climate change. This could involve increasing funding for initiatives such as the Green Climate Fund or technological transfer programs. If we try to incorporate these principles into climate policy and practice, we can work towards a more equitable and just transition to a sustainable future for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you very much. Bharti, anything from your end on this
Uh,
climate
yeah,
issue?
all points are covered very nicely and also explained by Alok and Rahul. Just to add to one or two, that absolutely the impact of climate change is not distributed equally, and here our role is only to develop and think about the marginal communities who are bearing the brunt. So to listen to them and to their inclusiveness in chalking out the plan for them is very important, because the community who would be facing floods or droughts will be completely different. So their knowledge, their traditional indigenous knowledge of combating such extreme climate events is important. We have to take that in account. At the same time, we have to make the communities aware about the funds which are available from the state government and the government's side in order to fund all these initiatives of capacity building and disaster management. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Bharti. Thank you. Moving forward, my question will be to Rahul now. Rahul, in the large corporations and industries significantly contribute to climate change. They're responsible for approximately, you can say, 71% of the global emissions. Encouraging sustainable practices is paramount in this situation. So currently, just 1% of the wealthy people, which I was talking about in the previous question also, the 1% of the wealthy individuals have more emissions than half of the world population. So how can we engage these entities to prioritize the sustainability and mitigate their impact on the climate change? I'm talking about the large corporations and the industries which are
Yes.
significantly contributing to the climate change. Rahul, your take on this.
Yes, of course, I don't want to be subjective because I'm part of an university, but here the key aspect is education. Engaging large corporations and wealthy individuals managing corporations in prioritizing sustainability and mitigating their impact on climate change could be done also through internationalization and requires a multifaceted approach. Because why through universities or why through educational programs? Because through it we can develop research and innovation, sustainable practices and technologies, providing evidence-based solutions for corporations and individuals to adopt. How can we try to, I don't know, to involve them and to make them aware of the importance of climate change's actions only through collaborating with them, with industry partner, international research networks, and to come up with solutions that can facilitate the development of innovative technologies and also strategies to reduce emissions and promote sustainability. So one key aspect would be education and training, because educating the next generation of leaders and professionals by integrating sustainability practices and principles into their curricula across disciplines, universities and Hayes and institutes students with the knowledge, skills and values needed to address climate changes. That's why collaborative research projects with industry partners, with global corporations, can expose to diverse perspectives and best practices in sustainability. Then, through partnership and collaboration, we can establish partnership and collaborative initiatives with corporations, even with governments, NGOs and international organizations mitigating for climate change. Because here, with joint research projects or internship programs, industry academic partnership, we can engage with corporate stakeholders to develop and implement sustainability initiatives. It won't come from their side if we don't do this. How they could be aware of it with these initiatives? Because if we create global networks and consortia to provide opportunities for cross-border collaboration and knowledge sharing on sustainability issues, of course, corporations will be aware of it, will see clear research, will see proposed sustainable practices and technologies to use in their own institutions, companies, to decrease pollution, to start fighting together for climate changes. And one would be also policy advocacy and public engagement, because we can raise through all these measures awareness about climate change and sustainability issues through a public outreach and engagement activities. If we organize conferences, seminars, public lectures, workshops within their companies, the global ones, universities and Hayes can foster this dialogue and collaboration between academia, industry, government, and civil society. All these efforts will enable us to reach diverse audiences and amplify this impact through global communication channels and media platforms. I think that here, no matter what we say, Hayes can play a vital role in engaging larger corporations and wealthy individuals to prioritize sustainability, but also to mitigate their impact on climate changes. So the key words would be, I think, research, education, partnerships, policy advocacy, even capacity building, and public engagement. That could contribute to a more sustainable future for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you. So before going to the next question, Rajdeep, there is somebody has raised a hand. Mr. Captain KK Sharma. Can you take him in? Rajdeep, are you there? Rajdeep, can you take Captain KK Sharma in? Captain Sharma, I think I'm not able to reach to Rajdeep. We'll take your question. Let me go to the next question. In the subsequent this thing questions, we'll take your call. So going forward, with the Bharti, let's explore some exciting developments in climate change mitigation. See, now we are talking about carbon capture technologies, which are just new and entering into the Indian market, and storage, to the innovative geoengineering solutions. The technology is offering basically a promising pathway for the climate change. Now, how do you see these innovations shaping our approach to tackling the climate changes?
Yes, absolutely.
Bharti, can you take it up? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So absolutely, there is lot of innovations and research happening with respect to new developments to mitigate climate change, and the initiatives are vast actually. So we all know that renewable energy innovations are picking day by day, so much so that now these days we have floating solar panels. Also, we have offshore wind turbines. So the possibilities are expanding day by day. If I have to talk about the electric mobility, then of course India is going to invest a lot in solar and EV in the current year's budget to promote the EV development. This is also a great initiative. Also, we see these days that the Ola electric scooters are already on the road, and they are planning to expand their charging network nationwide. There are a lot of smart initiatives being taken where the technology is being used for agriculture practices as well, where we promote the farming practices and afforestation via drone and seeding via drone. If I have to talk about our profession, that is architecture and construction profession, again we are taking support of technological advancement in building computation, wherein we already produce a model of a building, and it has been exposed through a lot of climate analysis and post occupancy energy consumption beforehand, at the design stage itself, to understand and to take informed and right decisions. To name a few softwares which we use is BIM, then there is eQuest, Ecotech analysis, then Design Builder. All of these are helping us to get the energy modeling, the daylight analysis, the HVAC system optimization, all of that. So yes, the innovations are really promising, and it is going to make a big change in climate mitigation beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Bharti. I think Captain Sharma is in. Captain Sharma, you want to say anything? Please go ahead. Mute yourself first. Yeah, Captain. Hmm. I think he has left. Okay, okay. I think there was some confusion. No, no problems. So, Manoj, your take on this question, the technology part of.
I
I'm
think,
I'm talking about.
I mean, I'm happy to talk about technology from the adaptation point of view, because I think mitigation has been covered quite well. So I think as I was talking about the agriculture sector previously, I mean, we also have the National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture in India, which focuses on innovations when it comes to climate resilient agriculture, and I think it's critical when it comes to safeguarding the most vulnerable sections of our society. That includes farming community. And some of these interventions include, developing, for example, drought-resistant crop varieties.
Sorry,
Implementing water-efficient.
sorry, Manoj, sorry to intervene. I'll do one thing. I'll club these two questions together. The next
Mhm.
question is only the point which you're basically talking about. That is, I'm talking about the land use
Right.
practices, right? The agriculture and urbanization, climate dynamics, how we can deal with it. So I'm just adding this, means clubbing these two questions together in the interest of time, because we are left with 5 minutes and we have a lot to discuss.
Sure.
Yeah, you can go ahead now.
Yeah, so basically, it includes implementing water saving technologies like drip irrigation, which responds well with the changing climatic patterns. I would also like to draw that in the recent past, there has been an uptake in the use of remote sensing and GIS technology that leads to better crop monitoring and land use management. And I think these are some of the technological sort of developments that help communities to adapt. But I also want to circle back and also connect with the concept of climate justice very quickly, and then what is happening in terms of the international landscape. Climate justice basically talks about the people who have historically, countries, people, and corporations who have historically been the highest emitters are not the worst affected. The worst affected had hardly any role to play in climate change, and that is the foundation of climate justice. And that's where an example like the continent of Africa, which has largely no role in greenhouse gas emissions, is the one of the hardest hit continents. G20 countries, on the other hand, have contributed more than 75% of emissions historically. So, therefore, globally now there's a discourse in terms of how the countries which are most affected, most vulnerable, how can they get together and address these challenges. So there is something called loss and damage that came up in 2020 COP27, and there are major sort of commitments. So the requirement is around 4 to 6 trillion US dollars per annum for a transition to global economy. But then we have at least for the low income countries, we have hardly pledges amounting up to 230 million US dollars as adaptation fund. And then we hardly see the actual realization of close to 100 billion required when it comes to already achieving the goals set in the Paris Agreement. So I think there are a lot of initiatives required, including agriculture sector, which is a major employer and source of livelihood for population across the world, and technology has a major role to play in it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Manoj. Alok, you want to add anything on the technology and agricultural part?
So definitely, when we look into the technology part, even we discuss something around the renewable energy integration. So first of all, we need to understand that what are the technology available and what is something is available and how we can augment the capacity of that. First of all, technology advancement for the solar units, where we can increase the capacity utilization factor, how we can go for better nuclear energy capability so that we can provide more affordable and reliable energy to all the people. At the same time, definitely there is a lot of studies. Even if you are following the recent news, there is a recent study that has come up from IIT Kanpur where they have discussed that how exactly the EV is causing more emission to the in the atmosphere other than other things. So we need to have a very balanced, because right now a lot of technological advancement happening around how we can increase the how we can have different decarbonization levers to reduce our carbon dioxide. So I would like to say that in terms of technological advancement, there is a lot of things need to be done, but we need to integrate and take into account the nature-based solution approach. How exactly we can integrate nature-based solutions in all our adaptation measures, so that not only we will depend on too much of scientific interventions, but at the same time, if we look into what exactly people have done in the past and what are the traditional practices by means of which we have saved ourselves from different phenomena like climate related risk and others, that would be more pronounced, and we will be able to take a better call how exactly we can have a balance between technology and existing knowledge and do something better in terms of mitigation as well as adaptation.
Okay, thank you, Alok. So moving forward, because we have only left with 1 or 2 minutes, my next question will be to Rahul. Rahul, on the front of international cooperation, you are working on the international cooperation and you're talking about the coordinated approach and all this. In addressing the climate change, let's reflect upon the power of collaboration, which you are talking about. Take the example of your own country, which joined the EU emission trading scheme, showcasing a commitment to collective action. Yet there are barriers which persist as of now, such as differing priorities and economic disparities. Now let's explore further what are some successful examples of countries coming together to address the climate change, and what barriers still exist to global collaboration on this issue. Arnold.
Yes, although there have been successful examples demonstrating countries coming together to address climate change, such Paris Agreement from 2015, which aims to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, with efforts to limit the temperature increase to 1.5 degrees Celsius. That was one of the global consensus of the need for collective action to mitigate climate change. Another one was Montreal Protocol, adopted in 1987, international treaty designed to protect the ozone layer. And another successful one was the Kyoto Protocol. Although not without its flaws, the Kyoto Protocol from 1997 was one of the first international agreements to set binding targets for reducing greenhouses gas emissions. While not all the countries ratified the protocol, it laid the groundwork for future climate agreements and raised awareness about the need for global action on climate change. So despite these successes, several barriers persist to global collaboration on climate change. As you said, differing priorities. Developing countries may prioritize economic growth and poverty alleviation over environmental concerns, while developing countries may prioritize emission reductions and green technology innovations. Economic disparities. Developing countries often lack the financial resources and technological capabilities to implement climate mitigation and adaptation measures effectively. Without an adequate support from the ones that are already developed, achieving meaningful progress on climate action becomes challenging. Then there is the political will, which plays a significant role in global collaboration on climate change. Political instability, leadership changes, geopolitical tensions can also disrupt international cooperation and hinder progress on climate negotiations. And of course, the complexity of the negotiations. Climate negotiations involve complex and contentious issues such as burden sharing, finance and mechanism, technological transfer, and adaptation support. And the last one would be the lack of trust, a very, very important barrier, because building trust among countries is essential for effective international cooperation on climate change. All these barriers requires, of course, sustained efforts to build trust, to enhance transparency, to promote equity and provide adequate support to developing countries. It also requires strong leadership, political commitment, and collective action at the national, regional, and international level, such as to overcome differences and advance towards a sustainable and resilient future. As I previously said, our country implemented a lot of study programs, and I will not repeat it, into the universities to build the awareness from the very beginning to the future professionals. That means to all the engineers. We are 4 public universities in Romania, life science universities, having fields of agriculture, veterinary, horticulture, forestry, management, food engineering, zootechnics, bioengineering. So all these fields of study include the awareness of climate changes in their study programs through modules, through workshops, through international conferences. That could be a big step to increase the awareness for the future leaders, for the future professionals within the field. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Rahul. Manoj, you have also worked on the global collaboration. You have worked with the thing. Hello. Am I audible, Manoj?
Yes, Kailash, please.
Yeah, yeah. So you have also worked globally and as the climate change at the German Bilateral Cooperation Agency. So how do you take this question particularly on the international collaboration and the priorities, how they will set, and the what Raul was talking about the trust level between the two countries? How is what is your perspective basically?
I think there are several platforms or mechanisms for countries to cooperate. As I said previously, and this is reflected in the commitment made by respective countries. So we have, for example, the Sustainable Development Goals. These are 17 goals. One of the goals is also about climate change, number 13. And then we also have various mechanisms by which countries come together and they collaborate. So there are several platforms. Some of them are also facilitated by the United Nations. And then there are bilateral and multilateral institutions and banks, like World Bank, for example, ADB you have. So there are various mechanisms for countries to come together. And I think the key point here is that at least from an international relations point of view, we have moved past the initial setbacks that we had in the global discourse, and now we are reaching more and more consensus. At least there is no question or doubt between countries in terms of the. I'll go back to the first question. So there is no doubt whatsoever that greenhouse gases are causing adverse effects on countries and communities across the world, and countries are coming together. And we have various mechanisms, including COP, Conference of Parties for that matter, where countries come and negotiate the outcomes. It's a difficult path, but there is a lot of progress as well. There are a lot of setbacks as well, but there's a lot of progress as well. That's where I will stop. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Manoj. Thank you. Captain Sharma,
Yes.
can you unmute yourself now?
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yeah. We can very well.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and good evening to all. Giving the importance of time, I believe very little time is remaining. What I would just like to add to very insightful discussions that we've had, and thanks, Dr. Dev, for hosting. We are the manufacturers of air to water generators, and we are the global leaders. Under Make in India, we were also part of the recent COP28 that was held at Dubai, and again addressing the climate change. In fact, we still stand tall over there, just in front of the Sustainability Center at Dubai. And our product, a nature-based solution, people talked about innovation. So that is aimed towards sustainability, providing clean drinking water by extracting moisture from air. Fortunately, we are also recognized by UN as SDG pioneers, and also we working very closely with Jal Shakti mission in India, Jal Jeevan mission towards Har Ghar Jal, and also the government of India towards SBM 3.0. So ours is a wonderful solution aimed towards sustainability, and we provide drinking water and fresh water at scale, whether it be industries, whether it be for processed water, drinking water, or even for small farm holders also. They are using our technology. Right now, we are already into 32 countries with 1,500 projects and counting. At India, we are well into it, specifically at public places like at Bombay, all the key stations at Bombay, each of the railway platforms, we are present over there. Our plants are existing. Secunderabad railway stations, the plant is is available. The Vandeleur Zoo, we have changed from a water scarce region to a water oasis. So just about
Captain,
that
we
from
got.
my side. Thank you so much for giving me
Yeah, thank you,
opportunity to
Captain. Thank you
contribute.
very much. We actually already crossed
Yeah,
9
thank you
minutes
so much.
rather,
I
and
finished. Thank you.
thank you
Yeah,
for
yeah.
your addition to this. With the last question, because I'm not going to leave this question unattended. It's a very important question. And the last question, first to Rahul and then to Bharti. How can higher education institutions strategically integrate the international efforts while addressing the intricacies of the climate change? Particularly in Indian, we have alignment with the objective of international mission on strategic knowledge for the climate change. And Rahul, how you see the higher education institutions contribution towards this intricacies, basically these efforts to spread the awareness into the masses.
Okay. Um, as pointed out before along all the questions, we notice that a very important part comes to universities, to higher education institutions when we talk about climate change. Why internationalization and Erasmus Plus programs play a crucial role here? Because they can facilitate global collaboration, knowledge exchange, and student mobility. All these intricacies of internationalization efforts and Erasmus Plus initiatives, Erasmus, which is the program of exchanging students and staff, professionals also, technical staff, administrative staff, this becomes very significant when addressing climate changes and sustainability challenges, because HAZE can do efforts to integrate climate change consideration into the internationalization strategies. If you are part of a university, peer with other universities around the globe and start cooperation within the Erasmus Plus program, because it involves fostering partnership worldwide, and we can prioritize sustainability and environmental conservation. Furthermore, Erasmus Plus programs offer opportunities for students and staff to engage in projects and exchanges focused on environmental sustainability and climate changes. They can be designed to include modules or internship related to climate changes research, renewable energy, or sustainable development. And this will allow participants to gain first-hand experience in addressing environmental issues while fostering cross-cultural understanding and collaboration. More than this, by facilitating interdisciplinary collaboration and knowledge sharing among researchers for different countries, HAZE, namely universities, can contribute to innovative solutions for combating climate change, innovative solutions that can be undertaken, as mentioned before, by companies, by industry, because addressing climate change within the context of internationalization and Erasmus also pose these challenges. And these might include logistical hurdles such as coordination of transnational projects, navigating diverse regulatory frameworks, and also ensuring the equitable distribution of researches with the partner. I will make it short. What universities could also promote sustainable mobility, invest in green infrastructure, measure and monitor progress, and empower students and staff. And I will end naming only a few international projects that can be that can involve partnership from all over the world. That's capacity building in the field of higher education, Erasmus Mundus joint master degree programs, strategic partnership or partnership for cooperation projects, and alliances and consortia within the sustainable development. All these programs, for example, last month, and here I also have to greet our specialist in climate change, which is Laura Shmuliak, Professor Laura Shmuliak. She has joined the meeting. We have applied for international projects. One is on sustainable horizons with 5 partners from Europe. One is 2 capacity building programs with projects with more than 10 universities from all over the world, and all of them have the theme and the aim, the objective to create curricula on involving sustainable and climate changes mitigation. Curricula for bachelor, master, and especially also to PhD programs. So curriculum integration, interdisciplinary cooperation, community engagement, capacity building, international collaboration, and innovation and technology transfer are very important. And I will end saying that strategically integrating internationalization effort with climate change objectives, we can play a crucial role in advancing knowledge, fostering collaboration, and driving positive change in response to the climate crisis. HAZE can contribute to global efforts to address climate change and build a more sustainable and resilient future for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rahul. Thank you very much for the ad.
Yeah,
So Rajdeep wanted to add something. Rajdeep, Bharti, just give me 1 minute.
sure.
Rajdeep wanted to add anything. Yeah, Rajdeep, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
Rajdeep,
Yeah,
are you there?
yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
Kailash.
Please
No,
go
well,
ahead.
like most of the things Rahul covered, but just I would like to add, probably anyway, like this March is full, but sometime in the first or second week of April, we are going to have a very important deliberation on Erasmus Plus and Erasmus funding, so that our
Okay.
audience take benefit of this, and definitely we will definitely going to have Rahul and Laura into that. So Rahul already covered this important aspect of capacity building program or the capacity building fund that was available with Erasmus. My university and myself is one of the beneficiary of similar, although we are not doing anything on climate change, but for the human capacity building we are working on for in Sri Lanka involving healthcare worker, and Erasmus amount, like our funding is somewhere around 5.4 crore that we receive. So a lot of fundings are available out of this Erasmus Plus fund, and people can apply and take benefit out of this. Yeah, Bharti ma'am, please
Thank you,
proceed.
Rajdeep. Thank you for
Yeah,
insightful
sure.
addition.
Very well
Bharti, now you can go.
Yes,
Go
very well
ahead, Bharti.
explained by Rahul, and I congratulate on the efforts taken by you. I will come back to the question, and I very much feel that higher education institutes play a very, very pivotal role in addressing climate change, because we are addressing it directly to the youth, and as they are the flag bearers and setting the stage for future climate action. So it is very important. Having said that, I feel that every institute has to formulate its own strategy and its own plan how to take this ahead. So, what I practice and what our institution practices here is a triple A model, where the first A stands for awareness, and we make our students aware about the earth sciences, the environmental sustainability through our curriculum in bachelor's and post graduation both. So I'm talking here about the architecture and construction industry basically. The second A stands for analysis part of it. Analysis comes with research. So every institute or our institute has formulated a research and an incubation center where, or a cell you can call it, where we collaborate with national as well as international stakeholders and educationists as well as the industry people to come up with better environmental solutions and to incubate the startup ideas in students. So basically it talks about the knowledge transfer and knowledge sharing here. And the third A comes with the application and the action taken. So once the students, or once the higher education students are aware about the awareness, and they have analyzed everything and researched about the climate change and the earth sciences, then we help them to take informed and very well decisions at the design level to come up with design proposals at the bachelor's level, or with the research, extensive research work at the master's level, wherein they can directly contribute to the policy advocacy and things like that. So once they either have the design module or the research or the new information with them, we help them to go in for IPR, registering under the intellectual property rights or the patents, because they already have innovated something and they have the solution about something about the climate change and they are taking care about it. So by doing this, we are taking ahead a very rigorous motive in the higher education institute, being one of I teaching in one of them, and we are constantly into upgradation about it each year, and how we can collaborate with the national as well as the international fields and stakeholders. Yeah.
Thank you, Bharti. I think Dr. Saurabh is also there. Dr. Saurabh, you want to say anything? Or is it okay? Okay, fine. Yeah. So, Rajdeep, with this, we have already crossed 20 minutes. And first of all, my apologies to Manoj, Alok, and all the panelists, because we could not give you that much time to speak about, because this is a very interesting topic and it needs a lot of deliberations, lot of discussions. But we have a limited time of 1 hour, though we have already crossed 1 hour 20 minutes. So in the next forthcoming sessions, we'll definitely have, or we can, if you can suggest, we can break these topics in different sessions so that we can cover it up. With this,
Kailash,
thank you.
Kailash, just sorry to interrupt. Like, if any of
Sure.
our panelists would like to share any material, any link, or anything, like as a document file or a presentation, you can share with us. We'll share with all the registered participants. We have around 2,000 registered participants with us. So we can share that. Any afterthought also, like if you would feel like,
Yes.
okay, you didn't get an opportunity to share this, you can share any link, YouTube video, like any learn more content. I must say, like anything, learn more content. If you would like to share, please do share with us. We'll forward it to the registered participants. And
Rajdeep, I
before
just
you,
want to add one thing
please.
here, that you should take up more of such events about climate change, because there is so much to talk on this, and the topics are vast, and that is the need for an hour for everyone these days. So yeah, more of maybe you can have a series of climate change, one, two, and
Yes,
episode three,
we'll have.
like.
Yeah,
I really,
we'll have
I
a
really
series.
support.
We'll have a series.
I really support this idea too. I was about to say that I think more webinars on climate change would be very instructive. Sorry.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure, Rahul.
and
We'll
and
we'll start a
Kailash
series. Yeah,
Galaji, very important part is right now people don't very well understand that what is the difference between climate and weather as well. So we just need to
exactly.
have a very basic approach how people can understand this can be filled successfully, and we will be able to bring more awareness how people can join this as a movement and make this climate change and sustainability aspect as a mainstream in their day-to-day life.
Well said, and your point well taken. Well taken. We'll start. I'll discuss with Rajdeep also on this. We'll start a one complete series on climate change. We'll have different topics, and we have uh, points or the this thing topics as per the layman, basic masses can understand that. Even if we just want to change the language also, we are okay with it. We can discuss in Hindi or in any other language which our panelists can speak about. I'm okay with it. So thank you very much, all of you. My heartest thanks to all of you, because on a brief note, you all people were able to come. Rajdeep, please go ahead. And this is to you now. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, just I am just appreciating everyone. That's it. The floor is yours. I thought like this time I'll be a silent spectators, but when Raul mentioned about the Erasmus funding and all, just that's how I pitched in. So I'd like to thank everyone since you have passed on the baton to me. So I'd like to thank all our panelists and of course, all our attendees, participants. You are not mere attendees. You are our partner of hosting this event together. Because this is the format of the LinkedIn audio event that anyone can pitch in and share their insights and experience and expertise with us. This is the beauty of the format. And to our esteemed panelists, we definitely would like to host you in the in our future events. And of course, our man of all season, Kailash, many thanks. You are one of the pillar of our this initiative, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rajdeep. Thank you. Thank you all.
And last but not least, from next week, to accommodate all our young friends, we are starting a new initiative called Talk About Career. So I am inviting all early career aspirants to be part of this initiative. every third Saturday of every month, we are going to have, this is going to be like a series, so every third Saturday of the month, we are going to invite our young friends to talk about the career opportunities while they are in the campus and beyond the campus. So 16th of this month, we are going to have our first events, and which will subsequently follow. So this is one announcement I would like to make. Kailash, any last thoughts, last comments, anything from your end? I'm done.
Thank you very much. We'll sort out the program. We'll share to everybody on the climate series. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations for organizing this event, and good luck in all the next ones. And think of some of the panelists said to organize a series of climate changes events. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting. Thanks.